Thank you, Craig. Moving right along. Look at that. Actually, you know what? We're not going to do this. We're going to do something different. We're going to move to this. Hold on. Back up. This is what we're ready for. So, where is Ray, first of all? Okay. All right. You can sit there for just a moment. I'm going to ask you to come up in 1 second. I did have a few comments I wanted to make. So this is an honor, of course, for me. I'm Ray's neighbor, by the way, and we've been neighbors now for off and on for over 35 years. Although Lynn and I didn't move here full time until about 6 or 8 years ago. But in making this award, we recognize that the many impactful contributions that Ray has made to both sustaining and enhancing life on Block Island. He really is an example. He's an unusual guy. When I started looking at all of the various things he's been involved with, he has truly touched so many aspects of our life on Block Island in a meaningful way. I certainly first got to know him, as a colleague on the BIRA Board of Directors. So that was one of many things that Ray was involved in. He's a Vietnam War veteran. He leveraged his expertise in flying to a very long career working for American Airlines. He discovered Block Island back in the early 80s on a sailing trip. So he's, like many of us, kind of an immigrant to Block Island. Purchased his house in 1985, rented a cottage to me in 1989, and certainly moved here full time in 91. His volunteer commitments are impressive. Served on the town council for 2 years. Served as second warden. Was on the zoning board, the Block Island Conservancy, the land trust. He's been a member of BIRA, Block Island Health Center. Most recently, he co-chaired the committee supervising the renovation of the health center. Ray was a member of the rescue squad and the Lions Club. Worked as a volunteer on the Great Small Pond. So it's a very long list. Worked with Bill Penn to ensure that the international student workers were welcomed and treated fairly by their employers, along with Lucinda Morrison. He co-chaired the Broadband Committee that brought internet to Block Island. Isn't that an amazing thing? By the way, we mentioned one of our activities is BIRA sponsors the year-end picnic for the international students and workers, which they have at the end of the season every year. So that's a tradition that continues. Ray, why don't you come on up? I think it's time. So it's truly an honor to recognize my neighbor, Ray Torrey, for his dedicated years of service to Block Island. It's people like Ray who so willingly use their talents through volunteer activities that add so much to our quality of life on Block Island. So on behalf of the Block Island Residents Association and the entire community, welcome you as our Island Treasurer for 2025.
Because I have to take my notes out of my pocket. It'll be brief, but the first thing at the top of my notes is a note to myself. It says 3 minutes max. And there's a couple just want to thank you, all of you, and especially the Board of BIRA for extending this great honor to me, and I'm overwhelmed by it. You know, I haven't been sleeping well for the last, 7 months. I toss and turn trying to get back to sleep, and I wake up with a knot in my stomach, and I think that a lot of you are experiencing the same things because of the terrible things that are happening in our country now. However, my friend, my dog, Enzo, he keeps me happy, and when I wake up, I roll over and he's staring at me. I know that if I don't get out of bed before 7, he'll be tapping on my shoulder because he's hungry. And so I roll out and I look out the window, and immediately I'm overwhelmed by the incredible beauty of our island. And then I think of all my good friends that I've made here on the island for the last 40 years, and then I think, life is pretty good, so I feel a lot better. And I guess that's why I have been involved in volunteer work for probably the last 35 years. When I first heard about this award, I believe it was from my good friend Susan Bush, and she's a member of our daily play date we have with our dogs at my property. And so she asked me about it, and I said, well, I'm embarrassed by it. And that was the wrong word to use. I think what I really meant to say was I was perplexed by it, because I could think of about 24 islanders that are as equally deserving of the award as I. And so Susan said, well, Ray, yes, we know there are a lot of good volunteers and people that work hard, but you have been at it the longest. I think by that she meant I was the oldest. And it is true, I am old, 86. However, my good friend Jerry Pierce is 95, and 2 or 3 or 4 days a week he is involved in work with BIED, the Fed. So I'm not the oldest. And, there are other people like Steve Roberson that volunteer as well. So I can't name, I don't plan, or I'm not going to name names who were on this list of 24 people, I thought. Perhaps just a few of the ones that have passed on recently. Bill Penn, who, as Joe said, worked as the president of BIRA for a while, and he and I worked with the foreign students. And Dean Brown and Peter Greenman, who I worked with on Adrian's Army, working the trails. And of course, Adrian Mitchell. And so I'd just like to say that, the time I have spent on volunteer work, whatever time and energy I spent has been repaid threefold to me, in that I've enjoyed the success of the projects, and I've learned an awful lot about things that I didn't know about, like building trades and how things get done, and et cetera. And also the friends I've made. I made some incredible friends who were part of the teamwork as I was working on the skateboard park, or Broadband Committee or the Medical Center. So that's about all I have to say, except that I only accept this award if I can do so in the name of all those volunteers that have taught me so much, that I've worked with, and I thank those volunteers, and I thank all of you for honoring me. I will always cherish this award. Thank you again. And one of my friends in the audience has requested that we open this up for a public comment. But I'm kind of afraid because I know what's on her mind. Thank you again.